When people talk about immigration, they often talk about money. But is immigration good or bad for an economy? Here are the facts. High levels of immigration tend to expand the total size of an economy. More people in Canada means more people buying clothes, groceries, and cars. More people equals more money being spent. So our economy gets bigger, but that doesn't necessarily mean more money for everyone. Typically, in developed countries, GDP per capita doesn't increase much. At least, not initially. New immigrants tend to have much lower earnings than their Canadian-born counterparts. During their first years in Canada, they don't pay as much tax as the average Canadian, and they're more likely to get help from the government. But that changes over time. A Carleton economics prof says, in terms of social assistance, immigrants eventually become like the rest of the population, and in time are no greater drain on government services than people born in Canada. So eventually, immigrants don't need more social assistance than Canadians. But what about their impact on the job situation? According to the experts we spoke to, immigration does have some initial negative impacts on wages and employment. That's because an influx of people working for lower wages brings down averages in an area. But that's short term. Long term, the impact on workers is neutral. Not a benefit, not a burden. Newcomers are also more entrepreneurial than the general population once they get comfortable in their new country. Business ownership rates are higher among immigrants who've been in Canada for a decade or more. But they're more likely to have a service or a retail startup, and their businesses tend to be on a smaller scale than their Canadian counterparts. Think of it this way. If you take 100 immigrants and 100 people born in Canada, the immigrants will start more businesses, but they'll employ fewer people in total. But having an influx of immigrants is still valuable for a country like Canada with an aging population. All those retiring boomers mean taxpayers will be on the hook for higher healthcare costs, benefits, and government services. Low-skilled immigrants can help fill labor shortages, and newcomers with a higher education, work experience, and the desire to make things happen, they can transform a country or even a sector. Case in point, Silicon Valley in the US. Of the 87 most valuable private startups, more than half were founded by immigrants. And 71% of them had immigrants in key executive roles. And there are also countless examples of immigrant success stories in Canada. So not only does the economy need immigrants to combat an aging population, newcomers contribute in a lot of big ways. Want to learn more about immigration and the Canadian economy? Check out our coverage at CBCNews.ca.